Now these days in America, it's a trend where people are losing hope in society, the economy, how things is going. But yet these are the same people that are hypocritically living a lie, trying to keep up with a lifestyle that they rather drown themselves in debt just to reach, just to possibly never reach it. It's hard for the average Joe, the average Jane, to get by in today's economy. What baffles me is the women and men, especially from the videos I've seen with women. They keep complaining how their groceries are expensive, especially from the single mothers. The groceries are so expensive, housing is so expensive, how their rent jumped up. They just kept complaining. It's all complaint after complaint after complaint. And I end up noticing small details of a nice car, name brand clothing. A lot of these same people want to go on a nice fancy vacation, live in a luxury home, a luxury apartment. But yet they don't understand why it's so hard for many people like them to get by. There are some people who's making minimum wage, such as myself, where they make it impossible for themselves to get ahead. You know why? They continue to chase that false, fake American dream with full of lies, deception, and delusion. So many people in America are continuing to waste their money and live above their means. Oh, and then on top of that, holidays is coming up. All these pagan holidays, they have a history. And the companies who's producing all these products for all these holidays, they're making money off of your pockets. There's so many people that are complaining about inflation, but they're still spending their money. They're not budgeting right. They're not checking their savings. They're not thinking about what can happen 10, 20 years from now. No, they want to sit there and keep complaining. I see people online complaining about, oh, I don't have enough to live, living paycheck to paycheck. And there's people who has the nerve and audacity to sound so arrogantly entitled, childish, like it's about them, that the world or the government should fix this whole problem. I hear people saying stuff like there should be a deflation where things should be cheaper and their minimum wage pay should increase. You're working in a minimum wage job. Minimum wage jobs, their purpose was never created for people to get by off of. Back then, minimum wage jobs were for people like young adults, teenagers, young college students, just to get an extra buck in their pocket until they further advanced and made it into their career that they wish to pursue for. Now people are making minimum wage jobs their career. And majority of society is a minimum wage worker. That's a huge portion of the world. there's some people under certain circumstances they have no control over. They don't have access to a higher education, college degrees. A lot of people, sometimes a lot of things are out of their control, and it's understandable. But if you have the opportunity to change your life, why would you put yourself back in square one when God took you out of a rough situation? Your credit score is up, you're out of debt, you're debt free, just for you to go back and screw yourself over all over again. Restaurants and DoorDash and Uber Eats is becoming more expensive. And it's also making it harder on the delivery drivers too, to the point where it's like there's people out there who are just thinking about, hey, it'll be cheaper to just buy groceries and cook at home. Nothing ever is going to replace a good home cooked meal, especially if you know how to cook right. And anybody could cook. Anybody could cook. It's called measurements, paying attention, looking online, reading a cooking book. There's YouTube videos full of people that does recipe videos, cooking videos. All these things exist. Technology is a blessing when you use it for the right reasons. But today, that's not the case. It's interesting how we're in a big economical shift where even the dating pool is being affected because of inflation. Now you have a lot of women who are desperately looking to resort to prostitution, aka OnlyFans. And there's simps that are justifying it, saying that's not really prostitution if it's just online. Yes, it is, because some of these chicks, if they're doing something whorish and provocative online, best be assured they will do a lot more for a bigger buck in real life. Best be assured. People just has to wake up and have to be realistic. You just got to these days. You have to be realistic. You can't live in La La Land. You can't. Sly Jones, I understand he does not make any more videos on YouTube. And it's been about 5 years since he last made a post or anything, right? But all the things that he has said, it's actually happening today. It's like he foreshadowed the future. I think because it's not that he was God, he actually kept up with the things that were going on around the economy, always keeping up with the news, the things that is happening around you, people you talk to, networking. If you keep up with the media and you use it for productive resources to see what's going on, it could save you a lot of time and money. I'm to a point in my life where I am grinding and pushing to make it, because I don't want to live a stale life full of nothingness. And there's nothing wrong with wanting a nice car and living in a nice neighborhood. You have to put in the work and the effort, the sweat and the tears in order for you to acquire these things. And there's women that expect a lot of men to court them and take care of them, but a lot of men are checking out slowly but surely. More people are not interested in marriage because it costs a lot of money. And on top of that, there's many people out there that are declining to have children. I got 2 kids and I don't want any more kids. I'm not content where I'm at. I'm content in certain areas, but outside of that, I want better. I want better. I live in South Carolina. I was not born and raised here. I'm originally from New York City, and what made me stop myself from even moving back is that I would have been struggling a lot more in New York City on a minimum wage job, minimum wage pay, than I am down here right now. The cost of living is different, but it's starting to slowly go up here too, because most people are now thinking about moving to cheaper areas just to save money in their pockets, but they're not thinking about other long-term possibilities and things that they're going to have to sacrifice. There's going to be a lot of sacrificing along the way if you want to make it and get yourself together. You may have to cut some people off. You may have to downsize. You may have to budget. You can't buy those nice brand stuff, those Prada, Gucci, all these name brand sneakers, these shoes. That's not going to get you nowhere. It's not. There's a lot of people who had to struggle in order to get to where they needed to be. And I'm aiming to become a dental hygienist, and the classes that I have to take, the prerequisites and the classes that's required for me to get into the program, it's not easy. It's not. You think I'm making these videos just to talk crap? No, I'm making these videos to enlighten a lot of you, and any one of you who comes across this video to actually know and understand what's going on in society. Like I said, what is the point in God taking you out of something just for you to put yourself back in it? Then what's the point? Then you can't think people are going to feel bad for you, especially if you did it to yourself. I don't feel bad for people who's living above their means and they're complaining about the wages not increasing. And you know why there's people that's making up to $100,000 a year and why they're still living paycheck to paycheck? It's because of their lifestyle. It's because they drowned themselves in debt. There was one video of a woman who was, I believe she was a nurse, her husband's an engineer. She had the nerve to cry and complain that she was only bringing about $200 to $300, I think, every week or every month after paying all her bills, mortgage and everything. Really? What else are you spending your money on? Something's not right somewhere. How is your credit score? What are you spending your money on? And there's people that lives above their means so much, they're in denial. And they think that, the company or the government should do something about this and just raise my wages. That's not how it works. That is not how it works. Your pay depends on your area, the cost of living, and your experience. Like I said, you have to occasionally, and in many cases, sacrifice. You have to downsize. Seriously. So many people, the new trend is trying to move into a new hustle and bustle, trying to live in a major city. That's what so many of these TikTokers and social media influencers is going for. New York City. California, Miami, Florida. They're always going for the top major cities, and then they complain about struggling. I'm not going to feel bad for you. I'm just not. You did it to yourself. You did it to yourself, especially if you don't have a plan. Seriously. The economy and the inflation, it's bad. And the housing market, it's bad as well. But it's also good to calculate, budget, understand your limits, understand how much you got, what you could afford, and what you have saved up. If you have to cut your costs from eating out, cut your costs from eating out. Eating out should be like a luxury, like once in a blue. Once in a blue. You have to cut your lease from a car, cut your lease from a car. There's nothing wrong with outright buying a cheap car that's used. As long as the car works good and you take good care of it, you could save a lot of money in your pocket. People just really need to take the time to think. And it's sad that there's so many people that doesn't want to listen. They only want to listen when it's too late. When they're really hitting rock bottom, that's when they wake up. You can't play victim to your own decisions, your own choices. It does not work. Nobody shouldn't feel bad for you. I'm sorry. If God took me out of something, I would humble myself to make sure I don't make the same mistake again, to even not think about once putting myself back into debt and back into poverty. I have a wife to think about, and I have children to also think about as well. I'm trying to push to make it. I'm trying to make money. I'm trying to get myself together. Not play games and try to get fake validation from the world, from the rest of society. Stop thinking about what other people thinks. You got to take care of yourself and think about yourself at the end of the day, because the streets is not a fun place to be at. There was many occasions where I was close to being homeless, and it's not fun. It is not fun at all. It's not. You have to worry about where you're going to sleep, where you're going to eat, where you're going to wear, where you're going to bathe, your rent, your bills. People really need to take their time to humble themselves, do the math, and make sacrifices. It is really not that hard. Sure, with how everything is going, it sucks, and I understand that. But if you have the means and resources in order to make it, go to trade school, get a better job, you're going to have to work for it. And it's called sacrifice. Time, sweat, and tears is truly worth it just to make it in the end. It is highly possible. It's easier to give up than it is to grind hard in order for you to make it. This is Casual Talk here. Peace out. Let me know what you think.